What's the word I'm looking for?
You're pigeonholed, basically.
You're glued, you're stuck,
you're
committed. Committed?
You're committed to
charades. You're the whole thing?
The whole thing, yes. You're feeding multiple people with this.
The whole thing, are you sure?
Yes, possible.
Careful, SpongeBob. And they don't know how to serve it to... Okay, I have to wait for you to stop hanging that pan.
My bad.
Bitch, you about to start hitting the pan!
Oh, sorry, I'm done. I'm not.
Yes, I think I'm falling in love. I think I'm falling in love.
What's up, guys? Welcome to today's video. Today's In the Open Meal Prep Monday video is going to be slightly different than it normally is on my channel. I think I told you guys this before in my other video. Everything that I have is kind of packed up and ready to go, so I am not doing my full Meal Prep Monday videos. But this is one of my best friend, Maggie. She is also a Black Iron nutrition coach with me. We've done videos on my channel before together, and she is a mom, and so she is oftentimes prepping meals for herself, her husband, her 2 kids, and I know that's a lot of something that you guys ask me on my channel, which obviously I can't relate to because I've been living by myself. So I don't typically do large meal prep batches, but today we are making a turkey bolognese sauce type thing, and we're gonna show you guys how to prep it for a large batch, how to weigh it out afterwards in MyFitnessPal, and we're gonna talk to you guys about weighing raw versus cooked meats and what you should do in a recipe like this. Maggie was the one who made this recipe on her Instagram, and when I saw it, I was like, when you come here, we need to make this. So today, that's what we're doing. As you guys saw, we already chopped up the onion and the garlic. It's cooking over here on the pan with the mixture of the 99% lean ground turkey by Jennie-O and the hot Italian turkey sausage by Jennie-O as well. We did it half and half. It's 8 ounces of each, and that's what's starting. Meanwhile, on the left side of the stove, we have the water boiling because we're gonna cook the banza pasta. And this is going to be a very high protein, lower fat for a bolognese, because if you've ever had a regular bolognese before, it's typically like upwards of 15-20 grams of fat. So macro friendly and also family friendly. We decided to go with the Classico, very bougie.
Yes, but the macros are pretty good. The fat is only 4.5 grams per serving, 9 grams of carbs, and then 2 grams of protein. So for a vodka sauce, it's pretty good on the fat macros.
Typically what we saw in the store was about like 15 grams of fat for 125 grams of a serving. Oh, sweet Jesus. Oh, look at that.
Right now, Manders is having a heart attack.
My stomach. You guys, I don't do well with red sauces, so we're gonna see how this is.
But you're also not eating. You're also not eating the whole thing.
True. This is very true.
We're just gonna let it simmer. You're gonna bring it to a boil, and then once it reaches a boil, you're gonna lower the heat. If you are cooking this sauce in bulk, and you are really paying attention to your macros, you want to do it separate.
Correct.
Once you cook your pasta, you're gonna weigh out your sauce separate, and then you're gonna combine just your portion.
Correct, because what we have over here, and I'll show you guys how we're also doing this in MyFitnessPal, but this is just the bands. I have a couple different options we were looking to choose from, but we have rotini, the wheels, and I also have rigatoni, but I don't have enough for this serving. So we'll probably use the rigatoni or the wheels. Whatever you guys want to use, you can use, but like Maggie said, this is where it can get kind of tricky tricky if you're doing a bulk item because you're not gonna have the exact same amount of pasta every single time. So we recommend doing the recipe how we're showing you, but then adding in your pasta serving by serving so you can keep a good control on it. The reason why we're doing it this way and we're showing you guys how to do it this way is if you are doing a bulk recipe and you decide that you want to make the recipe yield 4 servings, you're kind of glued to that specific serving size amount each time. Whereas if you do it this way and you weigh out the entire recipe in totality by grams, that means that every single time you go in the fridge to grab this recipe, you can have your individual serving based on your macronutrient needs. So for example, if 100 grams of this, and I'm just guessing right now because we haven't weighed it out yet, but let's say 100 grams of the sauce is the serving that I need, whereas Maggie might need a bit more carb or fat, protein, whatever, she can have 150 servings and it's not gonna mess up the remainder of the recipe. That would mean if I made it exactly to serve 4, every time I went to grab it or somebody else in the family went to grab it, they would have to get the exact amount every time. This just makes it so much easier so that you can have a smaller portion or your husband can have a larger portion, whatever the case may be. It just makes it more flexible instead of being, you know, compelled to have X amount of servings. So how you're going to weigh it out on your scale, we're going to put the bowl that you're weighing it in on the scale, going to tear it out to 0. So now whatever's in there is going to be the total amount. Oh, you were so close. You said 1,000.
I did.
Wow. As you guys can see, we already have the recipe up there. Turkey and chicken bolognese. Why do I say that so weird?
I don't know.
She's going to edit the recipe, and this is everything that we have in there. Like we told you guys, onions, garlic, lean ground turkey, Italian sausage, vodka cream sauce, okay? So now instead of it serving 1,000, that was what we just guessed before, we're gonna change it to 1,080, save and lock it. Now, let's say that Maggie is going to log a serving of the recipe. She's gonna change it to however much she wants. So 1 serving is actually 1 gram. When you do it like this and you add 1,080 or whatever the total amount in grams is, it makes each serving a gram. So if you're weighing out 250 grams, you're gonna put 250 servings. So for 250 of this, 23 grams of protein, 9 fat, 16 carb for just the sauce. Another thing we wanted to talk to you guys about is micronutrients. You can also add broccoli to this dish. You can add some spinach right into the pan. I'm gonna actually be prepping burnt broccoli here shortly, so that's why we didn't throw it in there, because I'm gonna do it in the oven. But you totally could do that if you wanted to focus more on some micronutrients. This meal, we actually have only had breakfast today, so that's why we're kind of just like rushing through it and putting it on the pan, getting ready to go. But if you did want to take your time and add some more micronutrients, highly, highly recommend doing that. There's 2 servings of the banza pasta.
Going to 50 for me. Make sure you get the chunks.
200 for me, and then we're gonna mix it all together.
You want to mix it up so that it takes that pasta sauce and it'll make it stick to the pasta, and then you get it really blended in there.
Maggie is adding goat cheese to hers.
And then top with some microgreens.
So the very last thing that I want to talk to you guys about is weighing your foods raw versus cooked. Now, as a general rule of thumb, before we get into meats, everything that you look at on the nutrition label for that specific nutrition label is always, maybe I shouldn't say always, but 99% of the time going to be for how the product is as is. The only time it's different is when it specifies on the label 57 grams cooked or 57 grams as prepared. Sometimes you'll see that in macaroni and cheese boxes or something where you have to add additional elements to the recipe. For everything else, you want to keep it as is. And this goes for frozen items as well. Frozen sweet potatoes, frozen fries, that's all going to be weighed frozen. When it comes to meat, especially poultry, beef, everything shrinks roughly 25%. So whatever way you want to weigh it, whether that's raw or cooked, the most important thing is to stay consistent. So if you always weigh your chicken cooked, that's fine to weigh it like that, and you can search in MyFitnessPal whatever the type of chicken it is, cooked grams. For me personally, I know the conversion off the top of my head because I've been tracking macros for so long. For things like chicken, ground beef, and ground turkey, 4 ounces of raw meat is approximately 113 grams of raw meat. And when you cook it, that translates over into 83 grams cooked. Every single time that I want to have a 4-ounce serving of chicken or beef or turkey, I weigh out 83 grams cooked. And I just know this off the top of my head, and it's pretty much about 22 or 23 grams per ounce cooked. Everything in cooked is about 20 grams of cooked meat per ounce. You know, it's like 21 or 22, but 20 is a good estimate if you want to just do it quickly in your head. So for example, if you're going to weigh out 100 grams of cooked meat, it's approximately 5 ounces of raw meat. And again, as long as you're staying consistent with it, that's all that matters, but that's just a good general rule of thumb. Things like shrimp don't typically change too much, and I think things like scallops and some type of those fishy items usually don't have a large amount of change like beef and poultry does, but that's just how I do it. And if you're gonna search in MyFitnessPal, it's just important that you're making sure you choose the proper option and switching it from ounces to grams or grams to ounces, cooked or raw. So that is how you weigh out raw versus cooked. We're just gonna taste it to do a final taste test. Oh my God. Okay, you guys need to make this recipe. That is so good.
It's the Italian sausage.
It is. The Italian sausage just like gives it that little extra kick of flavor. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, we're gonna eat this now. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let us know in the comment section if you try the recipe and if you like it, and if your family approved of it as well, because it is family friendly. And that's where we're ending today's Meal Prep Monday recipe video. Thanks, Mom, for joining me, and we'll see you guys in my next one.